there was a study in 2021, noted that most people's metabolism doesn't actually drop off until they're about 60 years of age. But what actually accounts for more weight gain is actually the loss of muscle mass and as well as movement.
As you age, you're gonna move less. You know, maybe at the beginning, 20 years old, you had a job at McDonald's. You're on your feet the entire day. Then you go out on the weekend. Now you have kids, now you have an office job, now you're sitting down more. And it's not like you can just say like, oh, just move more. It's like this person now has a desk job. Before they were burning 3,000 calories. Now they're burning 2,100. That's a significant difference.
Welcome back to the Kraken Power Podcast.
I'm not one to be ashamed of my age. You know, as you know, some people, they're like too scared to say how old they are and stuff. I'm 34 years old. And I think for a 34-year-old, I feel pretty good. You know, I don't have any crazy joint issues. I still move well. I still work out well. But I always thought it was a lie when people said like, oh, as soon as you hit 30, it's downhill and you start feeling crappier stuff. And I always thought that was a lie. And it's, you know, if you continue sleeping well and you continue training well, like it's not true, right?
You're like, that won't happen to me.
I kind of feel it. Like if I'm being completely honest, right? Dude, when I was 20, I remember like I could easily work out in the morning, maybe even potentially do a run or a walk on the treadmill super long. In the evening, go like snowboarding for 4 hours and then come back, eat, and then go to bed late at like 11 a.m., wake up for work at like 5 or 6 and start my shift, do the same thing again when I was 20. But now like that sounds like a bad idea. Like I would feel that the next day. I would feel more tired the next day. I wouldn't get a good sleep. You know, like I would definitely not sleep like a baby because my body's trying to recover. So my like HRV is probably going to be like through the roof. It's just not realistic for me anymore, you know?
Well, I just noticed the other day where, you know, usually every morning I'll get in a workout or some kind of strength training workout. And I did a pretty heavy leg day and I was trying to get back into my deep focus work in like the middle of the afternoon. I'm like, why am I so tired?
Yeah.
And before that would like re-energize me for the entire day. Like, okay, I'm gonna go to jiu-jitsu later today. I might get a second run in today too. But now it's more so I really have to focus on the recovery time. And we're not even there. Because today we're gonna be talking about what happens to your body after 40.
Yeah.
Because we have lots of clients who have obviously passed that age group. Very experienced with training people beyond 40, and there are definitely different changes that happen to that population in which you might want to treat training and, like we said earlier, recovery differently.
There is obviously science to this. What is that science?
So a lot of the things you're going to see pertains to how your body is going to recover, but just to kind of touch up on a few things here. So your muscle mass will typically peak around your 30s. And unfortunately, every decade, you tend to lose around 3 to 8% of your muscle mass that you had at your peak. So what the crazy thing is, by the time you get to 50, you can lose up to like 16% of what your muscle mass was. And this is primarily if people
Some people more.
Yes, some people even more. But this is primarily, obviously, if you're not doing strength training. Another thing that will change is your bone density. And so a lot of people will lose their bone density after their mid-20s or so, especially women, after they go into menopause. And you'll see lots of people with predisposed risk of osteoporosis, again, if you haven't been doing strength training throughout these kind of years. And on the hormonal side, you'll see different things for men and women. So for most people, again, after the age of 30, you're going to see about a 1 to 2% drop of testosterone each year, basically. And for women, their estrogen will rapidly drop as soon as they hit menopause. And so these hormones are also going to affect, again, your muscle mass and your bone density, which will affect how much you can have capabilities in your daily life.
You know, you'll see a lot of changes in people as they progress through their 30s and 40s, right? So, like, obviously, you get wrinklier, right? You get gray hair, you get hair loss. Obviously, that there's like some mineral imbalances going on and changes in your body, right? Hormonally and stuff that are causing physical changes to you, right? So of course, there's going to be things happening to you over time that that are affecting you, right? So it's something that you have to respect, which is something that I didn't respect as much before I started aging.
With all these changes coming down the pipe, how would we change our training? How do we change our nutrition? How would we generally approach our lifestyle habits to ensure that we can continue to glide that plane for longer and a better quality flight?
So you know this about me, but like about 2 or 3 years ago, I got like really into testosterone maxing, I guess you can call it, as the kids say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into testosterone maxing naturally, right? So I was doing things like icing my balls, just straight up saying it.
Feels great.
Yeah, it does feel great. It does get toasty in there. And doing things like also, of course, working on my sleep, working on my nutrition, eating more foods with like saturated fat and cholesterol and stuff. Those are all known to increase your testosterone. Since I started doing that, my testosterone over the years has actually increased. So before, I remember my testosterone was somewhere around like 23. This is Canadian measurements. So if I had to put the number into American units,
Freedom units.
freedom units, yeah, I think it was around like 650 to 700. And then now my testosterone's well over 900. So I believe it was like the last time we tested, it was like around 950, which is about 31 in Canadian units. I don't know what the unit measurements are called, but yeah, it's 31. It's actually flagged as too high. And so this was over the years, I've actually been able to increase my testosterone despite aging. So the 1 to 2% is not realistic for me, you know? So it is definitely possible for you to combat all of these issues with aging. There's people that have been known to reverse wrinkles and reverse gray hairs. So those are all things that you can work on your body to prevent yourself from aging. And I think it's valuable for people to do that. And now when it comes into the fitness side of things, of course, like you mentioned earlier, women going through menopause are going to be losing muscle mass and bone density at a rapid rate. And the way that you prevent that is by weight training.
By the way, if you're watching this thinking, I wish I had a coach like that, you can. We coach people online. You get a real, dedicated Kraken coach writing your program, checking in every single week through video, all through your phone. The link's in the description.
And strength training is so important because not only is it going to help you hormonally, like increase the amount of testosterone that you have, but it's going to allow you to build muscle mass and hold bone density as long as possible because your tissues, they love that tension, and it has to be weight bearing, obviously, so they can go through that adaptation process and rebuild and continue to flourish. Now, when we're talking about fitness, however, though, and we've talked about this in previous podcasts, it's not only just doing the work, but being able to recover from it. And being someone who is older than 40, you're obviously not going to recover as someone who is in their 20s, who has raging amount of testosterone and they're at their peak muscle mass and peak bone density. So what does a training split and recovery look like for you optimally, who's kind of reversed that a bit?
So I've increased my testosterone, and part of the reason why I think that it's increased because it's difficult for me to like decipher and say like, oh, this is the one thing that I did, right? But I think a huge part of it was actually reducing my training frequency. So I only train 2 times per week now, weight training, whereas before I was training 3, 4, 5 times per week. On top of that, maybe even doing some jiu-jitsu. So now what I do is just walk every day, and I have 2 weight training sessions. So I think that was a huge part of it. I think it was a huge, like, I know that this is crazy to a lot of people, but I increased my testosterone by training less. My workouts, however, are harder than they were before. So I actually go higher intensity, and I push my body harder, but then I also, on the flip side, recover way more. So recovery is a huge part of it as you age. Like you have to work on the recovery. And so when you're 25, you don't have to worry about recovery, you know? You can go work out. You can snowboard immediately after and snowboard for like 4 hours straight. You wake up the next morning, you're like, feel great. You know, do
like
it again.
4 hours of sleep.
Yeah, but you just can't do that anymore.
And so
And that's the thing is like, that's okay. It's okay. There's no shame in that, you know? And like, let's say I worked out 2 times or I have snowboarding on the weekend. I need to go snowboarding. I'm still going to go snowboarding. I'm still going to go hang out with my family. I might do 1 workout that week. Like if I had to time it right, I might do one workout. It would be the intelligent thing to do. And there's no shame in that.
Totally. Because you have to look at your workouts as well as your life as a whole when you're thinking about the load that your body is taking. You can't just think about the things that are just happening in the gym, because you're a father with kids and you have a job. Like, that is load that your body has to recover from. I've talked about this in previous episodes. And so if we just add extra workouts in there, you're just, again, digging yourself further into a hole, and you're not going to be able to recover from that. And the recovery is where all the progress is actually made. And now that we've noted that there's different measures for recovery, you're not recovering as well, so you just can't do as much. So as I was doing research before this podcast, because I wanted to be very well informed, one really interesting thing that I learned, there was a study in 2021, noted that most people's metabolism doesn't actually drop off until they're about 60 years of age. It's fairly stable between the ages of 20 to 60, but what actually accounts for most people's weight gain is actually the loss of muscle mass and as well as movement.
Yeah, so as you age, you're going to move less. Maybe at the beginning, at 20 years old, you had a job at McDonald's. You're on your feet the entire day. You're working at a grocery store. You're doing retail. You're on your feet the entire day. Then you go out on the weekend. You go dancing with your friends. You go out and hang out with them. You go snowboarding, right? And then as you age, now you have kids. Now you have an office job. Now you're sitting down more. So yeah, that reduces your metabolism even more. And then, well, it reduces movement, so you're burning less calories. As you age, like, yes, it does remain relatively stable until you're 60, but yeah, you're definitely moving less now, and that's really hard for people. And it's not like you can just say like, oh, just move more. It's like this person now has a desk job. Before, they were burning 3,000 calories. Now they're burning 2,100. That's a significant difference, right? So yes, like that study, although it is true, right, you still have to account for all of those things. And the reality is that for some people, maybe when they were 16 or maybe when they were 20, they were burning like 1,600, 1,700 calories, some women, right? And then now by the time they age, some hormone things happen and stuff, like now they're burning like 1,200 calories. Like that's a significant amount where like they were already, like their metabolism was already slow, and then now it's even slower. So yeah, I have a lot of sympathy for those people who struggle with that. And so yeah, like although this study may be true, I feel like it's almost like begging for misinformation, It's like, your metabolism is fine, don't worry about it,
Yeah, like what you're trying to say is just a lot of missing context too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like we were saying earlier, it's being older than 40 is more than just like what you do in the gym. It's like having a life and having the family that's adding to that load, or more importantly, like the stress that's loading onto your body. And so with that, plus a lack of activity, plus a lack of what you used to do in your younger days, maybe that is also attributing to like weight gain as well.
So your dad actually comes to the gym now. He trains with one of our trainers, and I think that his life changed ever since he started training here. And before, he never like did any weight training. I think he was maybe even kind of against it. So I don't know. Tell me, what kind of results has your dad seen? Because he's 50.
No, my dad's 63. No, 65 this year.
He's 65.
Crazy.
So there you go.
Yeah. So he actually started training with us about 1.5 years, 2 years ago now. And, he's been an athlete all of his life. He's done some kind of weight training before, but nothing really structured, especially for his age. Coming up from a different, let's say, time and fitness or era, like the goal for him to go into the gym was just to obliterate his body every single time. Like I remember being younger, like 12 years old, going to him and his personal trainer, and his personal trainer would just get him to run the circuit and just run him into the ground. And so his perception of fitness was that. It's like, if he wasn't leaving the gym in a groveling pool of sweat every time he went to the gym, what was even the point? Mm-hmm. So when I was trying to get him into our gym and I was like, hey, you really need a personal trainer because you're having all these injuries. I want you to be around longer. What are you doing on Monday? You now have a personal trainer. And so he's like, I don't know about this. And, we implemented a plan for him where he's doing very programmed strength training now, where he's doing compound lifts, high intensity, high load, but lots of time to recover in between. and things that are targeted, strength exercise that are targeted on increasing his mobility and his capability in a lunging position or something that he might see in his sport more so often. And because he's only doing this 2 times a week, he's able to recover more and he's able to do way more things in his life. Like his passion is playing pickleball more than when he wasn't doing any of this. And if I meant to add like another example is like my client, you know her very well. My oldest client, Grace, is 73 now. 73. And the thing that she always says is like, oh, I wish I started this earlier. Because she got into training right around the same time as my dad, probably when she was like in her early 60s. But the greatest thing for her is not that she's becoming like a bodybuilder or a big power lifter or anything, is that she always mentions to me every week when I see her is when she goes out to lunch with all of her friends are drooped over and she's the only one standing up straight looking out for the rest of the group.
So yeah, it's never too late to start. For these people, they've had their life completely change starting when they were 60. If you're 40 and you haven't exercised, just get going. You'll still see amazing results and it's not too late for you.